You know that food pyramid you grew up with? The one that's plastered on every cereal box, every classroom wall, every school cafeteria in the 90s? The one that told you to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta every single day? Yeah, that one was wrong. And not just a little wrong, I'm talking shaped more by the politics and lobbyists than by actual science wrong. SciDiDad here. Welcome back to the channel. In January 2026, led by the RFK Maha Revolution, the US government finally did something about it. They flipped the food pyramid. They literally turned it upside down. Now, it's something I've been saying to my family and friends for the last 10 years. And today, I'm going to break down what the old food pyramid got wrong, what this new one says, and more importantly, how you can use it to make better decisions for your family's health. Let's flip this thing. So the official advice was load up on greens, avoid fat like the plague, and don't worry about too much what kind of carbs you're eating or what kind of fats you're avoiding. Now, this wasn't built purely on good science. Based on some of the research I've done, the USDA actually delayed the pyramid's release in 1991 because meat and dairy lobbyists objected to how their products were shown. The graphic was redesigned to satisfy them before it went public. And here's the kicker. The team at USDA originally recommended 3 to 4 servings of whole grains per day. But by the time it went through the bureaucrats, the number jumped to 6 to 11 servings. And conveniently, the US had a massive green surplus at the time. So what you were taught as nutritional science in school was really a blend of an industry lobbying, political compromise, and economic convenience. Not exactly the recipe for good health. So when we look at the old pyramid, here's the first problem. The pyramid told you to eat more grains than anything else. But here's what it didn't tell you. Most of the grains in America are refined. They're stripped of fiber, they're stripped of nutrients, and they often contain pesticide residues and additives. Refined grains behave a lot like sugar in your body. They spike your blood sugar, which sets off a whole hormone cascade. From a functional health perspective, gluten-containing grains are one of the top inflammatory foods. The functional health practice world identifies gluten alongside refined sugar and dairy as the big 3 inflammatory culprits that need to be eliminated as a first step in any healing protocol. These are called non-negotiables. And it's not just gluten. Conventional grains are often sprayed with pesticides. Those pesticides have been shown to damage the blood-brain barrier, the protective lining that keeps toxins out of your brain. So the food at the base of the old pyramid was potentially undermining your neurological health. The second problem with the old pyramid was when you eat 6 to 11 servings of grain-based carbs a day, you're essentially running your body on sugar. All of those carbohydrates break down into glucose. And when your blood is sugar and constantly spiking and crashing, you get headaches, you get cravings, mood swings, fatigue, and weight gain. Sound familiar? Chronic blood sugar imbalance doesn't just make you tired. It can lead to insulin resistance, which is the gateway to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even cognitive decline. Research shows that the process of glycation, where sugar molecules bind to proteins and fats, creates compounds called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products, which literally accelerate aging. High fructose corn syrup accelerates that process by about 10 times compared to regular sugar. The old pyramid didn't distinguish between a bowl of steel-cut oats and a bag of Wonder Bread. It lumped all carbs together, and it said eat as much as possible. And that's like telling somebody drink more liquids without distinguishing between water and Mountain Dew. The third problem with the old pyramid was that it demonized all fats. The pyramid put all fats at the very top. Olive oil, avocado oil, nuts, salmon, right alongside candy bars. in the use sparingly section. This was based on a now debunked idea popularized by the researcher Ansel Keys with his 7 country study that was really a study of 22 countries that ultimately led to dietary fat causes heart disease. And this fueled the heart healthy diet, which literally kills Americans slowly every single day. And I did a whole video on this, breaking this down, which I'll leave right here. We know that that's dangerously oversimplified. Your brain is 60% fat. You need omega-3 fatty acids for everything from neurotransmitter function to reducing inflammation. The myelin sheaths that protect your nerve cells are made up of both saturated and unsaturated fats and essential fatty acids. Your body can't make them. You have to eat them. The real villains were never the healthy fats. They were the trans fats from hydrogenated oils, oxidized seed oils from highly processed foods, and the flood of sugar that the pyramid actively encouraged. So in 2026, the USDA and the Human Health Services, HHS, released this new dietary guidelines for Americans with a completely reimagined food pyramid. And this time, it flipped it upside down. And so here's the new structure. On the top, it's the widest, which you should eat the most. Things like protein, dairy, healthy fats alongside vegetables and fruits, sharing equal billing at the top. The middle is whole grains. It's still included, but it's a much smaller portion. And the bottom is the narrowest, which is highly processed foods that are explicitly called out as things to avoid. The tagline in all this, eat real food. That's it. No complicated charts, no confusing serving sizes. Just eat real, whole, nutrient-dense food. It's something I've been talking about for a long time, and a lot of people out there in the functional health world and in the carnivore diet world and pretty much in any other diet are talking about eating real, whole, nutrient-dense foods. And for the first time in 45 years of these dietary guidelines, the highly processed foods are named and shamed. They are called out for refined grains, industrial seed oils, artificial additives, and petroleum-based food dyes. The FDA is even working on phasing out all synthetic food dyes in favor of natural alternatives. I don't even really know how we got here. I guess I could do a whole video on how we actually landed here. It's probably fueled by money, because most of the time it is. But protein recommendations have also increased from 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight to 1.2 to 1.6 grams. That's nearly double what was previously recommended. And I still think it's a little low, but we'll take it. Here's why you should care about this though. 90% of US healthcare spending goes towards treating chronic diseases. And most of it is linked to diet and lifestyle. Over 70% of American adults are overweight or obese. Nearly 1 in 3 adolescents has pre-diabetes. Diet-driven chronic disease now disqualifies many young Americans from military service. We've been following flawed nutrition guidance for decades. The old pyramid didn't just fall to prevent these problems. Many experts argue it contributed to them by pushing a grain-heavy, fat-phobic diet that spiked blood sugar, drove inflammation, and left people nutritionally deficient. So from a functional health perspective, your body cannot heal in the face of deficiencies. As the old pyramid, by encouraging a massive grain consumption and discouraging healthy fats, it created exactly that. People were filling up on empty calories while being depleted of essential fats, fat-soluble vitamins, and quality proteins that their bodies actually needed to function. This flip matters because it finally aligns the government's visual guide closer to what functional health practitioners have been saying for years. Eat real food, prioritize nutrient density, cut the processed junk. So now you might be asking yourself, how do I leverage this for my family? Here's a few tips. So tip 1 is build every meal around protein, fat, and fiber. This is the golden trio for blood sugar stability. Every meal, every snack should have protein first, healthy fat, and some fiber. This keeps your blood sugar steady, your energy consistent, and your cravings in check. No more riding the sugar wave roller coaster. Tip 2 is flip your plate. So make protein and vegetables the star of your plate, not a side dish. The majority of your plate should be colorful vegetables and quality protein sources. Use things like root vegetables or a small amount of rice. I prefer basmati rice as your carb. Also make sure that if you're using rice like basmati, you pressure cook the rice. It helps reduce the lectin load, which can deteriorate your gut wall. And honestly, and the other thing is, don't be afraid to use healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, or coconut oil. The third tip would be eliminate all of the things that we call non-negotiables. If you're not feeling great and you want to start somewhere, pull out the top inflammatory foods: refined sugar, gluten, and dairy. In functional health, we call these the non-negotiable trifecta. Remove them for 30 days and see how you feel. You might be amazed at the difference. The fourth tip would be try to swap your breakfast. If you can, layer in intermittent fasting. Don't start your day with a bowl of cereal or a bagel. That's just sugar for breakfast. Start with eggs, avocado, sauteed greens. Give your body the nutrients it needs to actually function. You could layer in intermittent fasting. I've given away guides in some of my videos for fasting protocols. I can drop one of them below. The last one is support your liver. The fifth tip and the last one is support your liver. Your liver is your body's detox powerhouse. It filters your blood. Help it out with cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, beets, turmeric, leafy greens, and lemon zest. Foods rich in soluble fiber bind toxins and move them out. And skip all the late night snacking. Your liver actually regenerates between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. It can't do that job if it's busy digesting food. Most importantly, get to bed before 10 p.m. and allow your liver to flush and recover. Now here's the thing. This new pyramid doesn't totally address everything. Not all food within the categories are created equal. So it's not just like eat your protein, you need to eat quality protein. So for eggs, look for pasture-raised eggs. Because conventional eggs come from chickens that are fed GMO grains and pesticides, and they have abnormally high omega-6 fatty acid levels. Choose grass-fed and finished beef or lamb over factory farm. For chicken, you're looking for pasture-raised chicken. See, when your animals eat the normal food that they were supposed to, like chickens primarily are insectivores, cattle primarily eat grass, it actually creates the right fat balance inside of the meat. So you won't have a ratio of 6 to 3 that's imbalanced. Fish, same thing, go wild caught, especially salmon, sardines, anchovies, and mackerel. These can very well be factory farmed, and you want to stay far away from that because they're actually, I think some of them are actually fed greens, if I'm not mistaken. Oils, you want to ditch all the refined oils, soybean, canola, safflower. These are often from GMO crops. They're loaded with inflammatory omega-6s. They're rancid before they even hit the shelves in the supermarket. Cook with coconut oil, ghee, or grass-fed butter for high heat. I also cook with olive oil on lower heat. Use cold press olive oil, flax, or hemp oils for cold applications. But like I said, I know there's this fallacy about olive oil. You actually can cook with olive oil. I could probably do another video on this, but the oxidation point of olive oil is actually high. The smoke point is lower. Produce, make sure that you're buying organic where possible to reduce pesticide exposure. Eat the rainbow of colors to maximize your polyphenol intake. Remember, you eat what the animals ate. I love that because you absorb what the plants absorbed. Quality in equals quality out. So make sure that you're sourcing your produce the best way. And honestly, when you look at like where to source food, you want to try to source it as local as possible. If you could find a farmer's market, if you could find a farm where you can get eggs close by, that's what you want to be looking up and try to find. In closing, The food pyramid getting flipped is a big deal, but at the end of the day, no government graphic is going to save your health. You have to make these choices for yourself and for your family. And now you know what those choices should look like. So eat real food, prioritize the quality, feed your body like it matters, because it does. I always say this. There's one of two things you're going to do. Yes, is it a little more expensive to eat organic and eat these high quality source foods? It is. But you're either going to pay right now in the form of higher prices for food, or you're going to pay a very lofty bill later in life in the form of medical bills. That's how I see it. So if this video helped you, smash that subscribe button and share it with a parent who needs to hear it. And drop a comment telling me, what's the first food swap you're going to make this week? Stay curious, friends. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you in the next video.